Hello, I am Tiffany Awan and I'm from Indonesia. I'm currently taking diploma in fashion design and now I'm going to present about the research for my collection. So as you can see from the title, I am choosing the story of Le Petit Prince or The Little Prince in English. First of all, I would like to briefly introduce you to The Little Prince. The Little Prince has been sold over 2,000 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling books. It is a modern classic and also a fable by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who is a French author and innovator. The book was published in 1943 in France with his own illustration. The Little Prince tells the story about a young man called the Little Prince who traveled the universe and encountered various characters such as the fox, the pilot, and his rose. In his journey, he began to gain wisdom and address the themes of loneliness, friendship, love, and loss. The Book of the Little Prince is often mistaken for only children's book as it carries the style of a picture book. However, its simplicity hides dozens of valuable life lessons expressed by each of the characters in the story. Next, I would like to briefly talk about the story of the Little Prince. The story starts with the narrator's childhood, where he was once told to devote himself on other subjects instead of his dream of becoming a painter. So the narrator grew up becoming a pilot. In his career, he once crashed his plane in a desert and met a young man called the Little Prince. He was getting curious about the Little Prince and asked him questions, but the Little Prince wouldn't answer any of his questions. Instead, he told the pilot about his journey. Through the Little Prince story, the pilot came to know that the Little Prince came from an asteroid called B612 and the story about his love for the rose. Despite the love he had, the Little Prince slowly came to distrust the rose because of her lies, so he decided to leave his home planet. The Little Prince then visited 6 planets before landing on the Earth. In these 6 planets, he met adults that he found very odd. After landing on the Earth, he met a poisonous snake that offered him a help to go back to his planet, the fox who taught him about love and loss. The Little Prince also passed by a garden of roses that made him realize his rose isn't the only rose, and finally, he met the pilot. Days passed. The pilot's water supply had run out, so they had to go and search for a well. They managed to find one in the middle of the desert. Finally, it's been 1 year since the Little Prince came to the Earth, so he decided to go back to his rose with the help of the poisonous snake that he once met. The pilot realized that he had grown fond of the Little Prince and felt upset of him leaving. The poisonous snake then bit the Little Prince, causing him to fall down onto the sand. The story ended with the pilot asking if anyone had seen where the Little Prince was. These are some of the most famous messages from the story of the Little Prince. One of them is, "And now here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." This is quoted by the fox in the story. The story of the Little Prince was inspired by the author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's own life. Similar to the pilot in the story, Saint-Exupéry himself had experienced a plane crash in the Sahara Desert. During his wandering in the desert, he experienced a number of hallucinations, including an encounter with a fennec, which is a type of desert fox that resembles the illustration in the story. Saint-Exupéry may have depicted himself as both the pilot and the Little Prince of the story, as the story of the pilot and himself is quite similar. On the other hand, the Little Prince may represent the other aspects of Saint-Exupéry himself. In addition, the character Rose from the story is believed to be inspired from Saint-Exupéry's wife, Consuelo de Saint-Exupéry. The characteristics of the Little Prince. In the story, the Little Prince is described as a young man with golden hair. He laughs a lot and his laugh sounds like a lot of little bells. He was an extremely curious young man, but he will never answer questions. He came from the asteroid called B612. He cares for his planet and of course his love, the rose, very much. So, from the story of the Little Prince, we can conclude that the Little Prince represents the hope, love, innocence, and the insight of childhood that exists within ourselves. Next, these are some trends that I've chosen from the trend forecast of spring 2020 and also the colors. Since the story of the Little Prince implied numbers of valuable messages, the design concept of this collection is to express those messages through the designs, whether they're shown or implied. As for customer profile, I would like to target women who are 20 to 35 years old, those who work as influencers who are also a fashion enthusiast. They might have interest in shopping, fashion for sure, reading, literature, poems, doodles, or traveling. Next will be the mood boards. And this will be the look 1, look 2, and look 3. For fabric research, these are some of the fabric samples. They are mostly cotton, linen, and some embroidered tulle, and some ornaments that I'd like to use. Last but not least, I'd like to include some styling ideas for these collections. That marks the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time.